Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Lauren, and I am a recovered caffeine addict of 4 years now. Very proud of it. I know you're probably thinking, well, Lauren, if you're recovered from caffeine, what's in that cup, right? So, this is actually Numi Chai tea, which is herbal tea, strictly herbs and no caffeine. I will jump into that later. What I wanted to do was break up this episode into parts so the information wasn't overwhelming. So, the first part of this is going to be my history with caffeine, how my addiction developed, and then how I noticed the correlation between my autoimmune disease and caffeine. And then the second part of this episode, I will be discussing how I kicked my caffeine habit and what I'm doing to maintain my sanity. So, you ready? Let's jump in. I wanted to give you guys my history of the development of my caffeine addiction. So it started when I was in high school. Used to use energy drinks and caffeine to keep me up through the day, get me through classes, cheerleading, homework, progressed on through college. And then when I got to my career point in my life where I was working every day, that's when it got really bad. So I was consuming 3 cups of coffee before work in the morning, before even having breakfast. And then I would get to work, have another 1 to 2 to keep me going. And then when I would come off of that and crash, I would run to the gas station and get whatever deal they had on energy drinks and consume another 16 to 24 ounces of energy drinks through the evening. So what I noticed was that the issue was the caffeine is a major inflammatory substance, and that's in both the energy drinks and the coffee, right? So, problem one, caffeine. Problem two is my sugar intake was through the roof. So, I would add a ton of sugar to my coffee. I was not a black coffee drinker. And I had a ton of artificial sweeteners coming from the energy drink, which are just as bad, if not worse than sugar. So, a second major inflammatory substance. Thirdly, was the artificial sweetener and artificial creamers I used to use in the coffee, right? So, as if the sugar wasn't good enough, I had to add more fuel to the fire by adding in the flavored creamer. And aside from that just being dairy and being inflammatory, it's processed dairy. So it's even worse than what just regular dairy would be. And then lastly, you have as substance or ingredients in the energy drink is taurine. And taurine is synthetically processed in a lab. And in my mind, another inflammatory substance. So here I am consistently taking in all these ingredients that create major inflammation in my body. So creating all these problems for me, and I wasn't even thinking about it realistically. So where I found the problem to be was not only how I was consuming caffeine, but the amount of caffeine I was consuming. I was taking in up to 900 milligrams a day of caffeine. And the Mayo Clinic suggests that for a normal, healthy person, meaning a person without an active autoimmune disease, can consume up to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. So you could see that that would be a real problem. And I'll tell you where the problems were. I used to keep a food journal and I would track every little detail. And what I noticed, and you don't even have to keep a food journal to notice this a lot of times, is when I would get up in the morning and have my cup of coffee, 2 to 3 sips in, I got to go running to the bathroom. And when my Crohn's symptoms got really bad, it would linger with me throughout the day and throughout the morning at the very least. And my stomach was just real screwy. It just wasn't right. Secondly, as a hairstylist, what became a real problem because of the caffeine consumption I was having was I coined the term amongst my friends jokingly as shaky hands Lauren. I would hold out my hand and I couldn't keep it steady. It would shake. And as a hairdresser, that can be a real problem. So leading into my next problem of when I was constantly on edge all the time and wired, right? Because of the amount of caffeine I was consuming was incredible. So I was like Cosmo Kramer from Seinfeld when he walks in the door and he's got to shake as he walks in. That was me because I was so wired. So because I was so wired, I was crashing super hard. My energy level looked like this. It was up, it was down, it was up, it was down, it was up, it was down. And then when I would come down that last time, I would come down hard. So this is what kept the vicious cycle going. And this is what I noticed. And I noticed it more so once I actively started to keep a food journal. So that's why I recommend that to you guys. What I do want you to know is that in the next part of this episode, I am going to talk to you guys about how I was able to overcome this issue that I had with caffeine and what I'm doing now to maintain my sanity and my energy level. I hope you guys stay well. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon.